this episode. This week, the name on the marquee has got to be Stamp Fairtex, who this past weekend at the Singapore Indoor Stadium in Singapore won the vacant women's atomweight championship by defeating Ham So-hee by TKO in round number 3. The official time, 1:04 of round 3. Mark, start us off. Give us your take of Stamp Fairtex getting some gold for the first time in her career and your thoughts on the fight.
Yeah, so real quick to follow up on what you were just saying there. All of you listeners, viewers, whatever you want to call it, who come here for one, since a lot of people out there are not doing one, and we do it when the big fights are happening, and I notice that our views pop when we put out the one previews and so on. All you guys that come here to get the one content, click the little sub button for us. Help your boys out. Show some love for putting out the one content. With that said, yeah, this was a fun fight, fun scrap. All of Stamp's fights are fun scraps, pretty much. It's hard to have a boring fight with Stamp in it. They were calling her Ham on the broadcast at times. I knew her as Ham previously, so I don't know. But anyway, she did not look to wrestle. She came in there to strike with Stamp. I thought she'd probably try to mix it up. I heard Stamp even say that she had expected she would be mixing it up. And she never did, really. She came in there to strike. It wasn't going well for a while because what we're learning, the more we watch Stamp, is that you don't want to be a southpaw against Stamp Fairtex because the right kick is just there all day, especially to the body. And even if it's not there, Stamp is happy to rip the arm over and over and over again. And because of that, she was really dictating the striking for a while in this fight, mainly behind that right kick. But then out of nowhere in round 2, straight left from Ham, Stamp goes down. And suddenly we have a fight on her hands. Stamp's on her back. She's trying to get through it. And it seemed like she was okay, but she's got Ham on top of her. She does survive. She actually, I think, got really close to that armbar. I think if she had a few more seconds in that round, she might have had that thing. It looked like it was pretty tight. But then going into round 3, we had a fight on our hands. And next thing you know, we didn't. Beautiful sequence from Stamp. Multiple body shots, one that was too much for him to take, and Stamp is a 3-sport champion. I don't know if I love that. I'm saying it because they kept saying it. I don't know if I love calling it a 3-sport champion. I get it, obviously, kickboxing, Muay Thai, MMA. But, this ain't Deion Sanders playing football and baseball. It's a little different. But hey,
they're all combat sports?
Yes. Yeah. But I'll let her have it. I love Stamp. She's unbelievable. She is going to be a great champion to succeed Angela Lee, which I guess I'll mention very quickly. Originally, this was going to be an interim title fight because Angela was just taking a leave of absence. She called it. She wasn't necessarily dropping the belt. Obviously, if you watch this event right before the main event, Angela Lee came to the ring, put the belt down, announced her retirement, announced an organization that she's created. I wish I could remember the name of it right now. It's a bad job by me. I should have had that ready to go.
I think it's For the Fight, I think, or something like that.
It's something fight, yeah. But, in response to her sister's unfortunate suicide, but it's to help, fellow fighters and others with mental health. So she announced she's starting that, and that she's retiring and dropping the belt, and this became a fight for a vacant championship. So Stamp now is that champion. You could tell she was really honored when Angela Lee was the one that stepped up to put the belt on her shoulder, hugged her, crying. She had some nice things to say about Lee in the post-fight interview, and now she will be the one to carry that division forward, and she deserves it.
Hell yeah, man. What a star.
Real quick, the organization is called Fight Story.
Ah, that's it. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay. Omar, let's get your take now of Stamp Fairtex. What a star, and the star-making performance to a certain extent, winning her first championship belt with one championship.
Yeah, I love the way that Stamp fights. She obviously leans a lot on her Muay Thai. She has to modify it a little bit because you're including takedowns in here, but for the most part, she still uses most of her foundational stuff is Muay Thai. So a lot of the things I loved about that fight were the head kicks. She was seeing a lot of openings. She was creating openings with those head kicks. Eating those head kicks with your hand up, I know people see one thing. People, there's a lot of poker faces going on. People aren't getting knocked out from it, right? They're not even really getting rocked. I promise you that shit hurts. There's no shin guards on. There's barely even a glove there, if we're being honest with these 4-ounce gloves.
Yeah, yeah.
All of that shit hurts. And Ham really took a couple of good shots there. There was one, I think, that, kind of widened her eyes a little bit and was like, oh, I felt that one a little bit more than the others. But it was great. I thought the striking was really great. There were times, obviously, where Ham was able to take it down to the ground and kind of slow things down a little bit. And I think that was kind of where Stamp was just at a point in that round where she was like, fuck it, I'm just going to go for it. I think she felt her in the clinch at one point when they were against the fence. She threw a couple of nice knees from inside, man, and people really underestimate how much space you really need to throw a good knee. You don't need that much. You need a nice little hip rotation. You need a nice pop, and that's really about it, man. And good placement will be right on the rib, and that shit will mess somebody up. And Stamp landed at least 2 or 3 good ones in the clinch while they were against the fence, backed her up a little bit, and never let her off the hook. Continued to move forward, body shots, came forward rushing her, and the body shots were really the story that sealed the deal at the end of the day.
Guys, is Stamp Fairtex one's biggest star right now?
I mean, I think she's there. I mean, you got DJ, but Stamp brings a little bit of the extra it to it, right? You got guys that are big like Mikey Musumeci just based off of skill. But Stamp has the whole K-pop dance thing that she does at every... she's got that extra little bit, I think, that pushes her star power more than just the fact that she beats just about everybody's ass.
Yeah, are you talking just MMA? Because I think there's probably some Muay Thai guys who you could say have some more star power than her, potentially.
I just mean promotionally, for the one promotion.
No, I think...
You don't think so? I think she's way up there. I think she's skyrocketing.
I do think she's a face for sure. I think there's other guys though that are also up there as well, like the Rod Tangs and the Super Lex and
yeah, that's exactly who I was just gonna say.
Yeah.
I don't think she's hit that point. But MMA wise, I think it's her and DJ that are kind of, and DJ, who knows if he's even fighting anymore. I think those are the 2 biggest faces they have in MMA.
But I think if the promotion were to talk about themselves, right, I think that her name would absolutely come up along with those other ones as well. Even people like Supergirl and things like that are just big from a name perspective. Maybe not necessarily in terms of their resume. I mean, it's hard to catch up to Rod Tang's resume. That dude's fought fucking everybody and their mother like 3 or 4 times. Yeah. So it's hard to catch up to a guy like that. But some of these women in these divisions are big on the Muay Thai scene, are big in that side of the country, have a huge social media following. It's hard to deny that star power along with their success.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's her 3rd belt in the promotion, so she's certainly up there.
I will say this. I feel like if one championship has done anything, they have done more than anybody else to promote the sport of Muay Thai at a massive scale and giving the sport such a huge push, man. I think Muay Thai is at the front of mind for more combat sports fans than it ever has been before, and that is solely because of one championship. More and more Muay Thai promotions are popping up. In my home state right now, in Michigan, I just Instagram showed my face the other day, like in the Discovery thing. These guys are creating Michigan's first professional Muay Thai promotion called Mitten Muay Thai. And I reached out to them. I was like, hey, if you guys ever want an announcer, I'm in the state. And they reached out. They were like, yeah, let's hop on a phone call. So we'll see what happens with that. But stuff like that. And it hasn't happened overnight. Like Muay Thai has been around for a while. Like back in New York, there was Friday Night Fights Muay Thai. I do Warriors Cup Muay Thai. That's on their 56th event, this month. So Muay Thai's been around, but one championship with their huge platform is just like, and making stars out of guys like Rod Tang and Stamp. So,
yep,
good stuff. Let's talk about what's next for Stamp Fairtex. Mark, what do you think?
So, looking at the rankings, Tiffany Teo is ranked number 4 currently. She's actually ranked 5 if we're being technical, but it's because the rankings are fucked up and they have a blank spot. So really she's 4. And she has not yet fought Stamp, whereas the others have, or have a recent loss to Ham, who obviously Stamp just beat. So she seems like maybe the fresh face that could be the next challenger. Her only 2 losses in her career thus far or to Zhang Jingnan. She's won 2 in a row. So if I had to guess, it might be her. There's not really any like huge names waiting in the wings to make some big super fight, unfortunately, unless they did some crossover thing like one is prone to do. But if we're talking just MMA, that's my guess.
Any other thoughts, Omar?
I mean, the only other person you could really even consider would be the only other person in the top 5 who hasn't recently or ever lost or fought Stan Fairtex, which would be Denise Mbongana. But, you know, I mean, those are the only 2 options you really have. There's not really much wiggle room, at least from a rankings perspective, that you can look at. Everybody else has pretty much lost to Stan at this point.
Yeah, she... what's her record now? She improves to 11-2 as a pro. It was her 5th knockout win, and this is just MMA, of course. And yeah, it was. She also got performance of the night with that performance. Her 2nd in a row with one now. So what a rising star is Stan Fairtex. One thing that I feel differentiates her from the Rodtangs of the world is she just has some kind of it quality, I feel, with that. She has this smile, and she comes out and she does this almost ritualized like K-pop dance where she comes up with some kind of choreography, and she's just the word that pops in my head is that she's just a force. She's just a force of nature, is this girl, and she fights just like a champion, and I love her. I love her.
Yeah. She's
All
a good
right,
time.
let's move on.
She is.
The other MMA bouts on this card, one Fight Night 14, once again going down in the Singapore Indoor Stadium in Singapore this past weekend. John Hands of Stone Lineker gets the win by unanimous decision after 3 rounds. Mark, start us off for Lineker getting the win over Stephen Loman, excuse me.
Yeah, he, we thought these 2 were going to strike in there. And they did eventually, but early Lineker landed a body shot that turned Stephen Loman into a wrestler real quick. That wrestling may have actually ended up pulling out that round for him. And then round 2 starts, we see another body shot. He goes right back to the takedown as soon as he gets hit to the body, but this time Lineker stuffed it. And from there, it was more or less the same for the rest of the fight. You know, there were moments in round 2 where Loman was scoring with his striking, since it was such a varied attack against what was basically the right hand of John Lineker over and over again. But even as that round went on, and then especially in round 3, we just saw what we usually see from John Lineker. He literally puts his head down, blitzes forward, wings shots, goes body head, almost fully with the right hand. He throws in the left here and there, and stuffs takedowns with ease. And he just showed that he was too much of a physical battering ram in there for Stephen Loman to overcome on this night. So, early it was close. Once Lineker found his groove and kind of started getting the crowd behind him and he was hyping the crowd and all that, he pulled away in my eyes. I scored it for him. All 3 judges did too. It's not like it was dominant, but I thought he clearly won that fight, and he needed to, and he got it done.
Omar, what are your thoughts of Lineker doing Lineker things?
Yeah, I mean, I think Loman fought in a way that favored Lineker, right? He was backing up the entire time. He was obviously trying to keep distance. And I keep thinking, every time I see people fight like this, just in general, where they're trying to avoid an entire area of a fight, I always think back to my coach saying, if you continue to avoid the clinch, because people are always trying to avoid the clinch in training. So he's like, if you try to avoid the clinch, people are going to notice you don't want to be in the clinch. And they're going to put you in the clinch. But if you can at least show that you can hold your own in the clinch and you don't shy away from it, you can dictate when you want to be in and out of the clinch. And I just think that there was a certain point where he wasn't trying to get inside with Lineker, right? He wasn't trying to get into that striking distance with Lineker. He wasn't trying to play Lineker's game to the point where he was completely trying to avoid it and basically giving away the fight in this at the same time, right? Lineker was just able to push forward. He was able to throw his shots. He was able to keep Loman on the back foot the entire time, and caught him a bunch of times in the process as well. He landed a lot of big shots in that fight. So I just think Loman just needed to come forward just a little bit more, at least from time to time. Maybe not the entire fight, But knees, I mean, there were a lot of moments in there, especially with the height difference, where I was like a couple good knees with Lineker just walking straight at you, like that does damage, and over the course of 3 rounds, even more so. So I just thought he fought, I think he fought a fight that involved a little much to avoidance, and not enough, aggression.
Yeah. Man, what a nightmare to fight this guy. If it's only 5'3" tall, just a nightmare. Such a strong
Dog, he's
human
terrifying.
being. Terrifying.
He's terrifying.
Yeah, and especially as he's gotten older. Like I feel like his hair's gotten shorter. He's more tatted up.
Yeah.
He's just more beardy.
And he's also not cutting all that weight that we used to see him cut in the
so
UFC,
he's like a
right? So
5'3" monster.
Fucking thick, and the man just throws body shots like he's trying to break through stone. It's
every
terrifying.
body shot
Hence the name.
that he lands, I almost see, I don't even want to say I picture it. I almost see it like Thor's hammer is hitting people's bodies when his fist
Right.
gets there.
Anytime he lands
that's
a body
what
shot,
it feels like.
yeah, when he lands a body shot, I puke a little bit. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, it doesn't look great.
Okay, so after losing his shot for one championship gold against Fabricio Andrade back in February of this year, Lineker now with back-to-back wins over Kim and Loman. Mark, what do you think is next for the Brazilian for this promotion?
I don't know, honestly. I don't think he's getting Andrade again this soon. He's ranked number 1. He's now just beat number 2 and number 3 back-to-back. Can he just fight the next contender, 4 or 5? Sure, of course he can. But, he's been around for a bit. He's a name. He's proven himself all over the world. If I'm him, I'm trying to angle for something maybe a little bit outside of the box, a little bit bigger. I don't know what that could be. I don't know if he could be in one of these special rules fights, or if he could ever, he probably can't convince a DJ to fight him at this point, with DJ being 1 foot out the door. But how about him and Adriano Moraes? Something like that. Some type of super fight across a weight class. And Moraes is huge for being a weight class below Lineker anyway, and Lineker's tiny for his, so Moraes is probably bigger than him. I mean, he certainly is taller than him. So I would try to push for something like that if I was him. Who knows how realistic that is, but I think that's a better use of John Lineker at this point in his career.
Omar, any other thoughts on that?
No, that's actually better than any answer I could have given you, because I wasn't even thinking that far outside the box. So I like it.